get through this vital English learning resource and interact with the content. You will find many activities and exercises which will help you grasp the concepts addressed in the CD. As you take this exploratory journey through selected topics in English, it is hoped that you will adventure and learn. Welcome.
Listening and speaking skills play an important role in social and academic development. One who listens and speaks effectively is able to receive and respond to information appropriately. These two skills also contribute significantly to the development of reading and writing skills.
In this lesson, we will discuss stress and intonation in English language. Stress. Stress refers to the extra force given to a syllable in a word when articulating it. Word syllables play a big role in stress placement. What then is a syllable? A syllable is the part or parts into which a word is divided. The part usually contains a vowel and one or more consonant sounds. Study the underlined units of the following words. These fragments are known as syllables. To, day, 2 syllables. To, ma, to, 3 syllables. Pre, ze, te, shon, 4 syllables. Stress in a word is important because it affects grammatical function in a sentence. This, however, applies to some words. If we stress the first syllable, then the word is either a noun or an adjective. If stress is on the second syllable, then it is a verb. Listen carefully to these words as they are said. Note how the stress on different syllables brings out the differences in word class. Noun, conduct. Verb, conduct. Noun, present. Verb, present. Noun, rebel. Verb, rebel. Adjective, frequent. Verb, frequent. Adjective, perfect. Verb, perfect. Intonation is the rise and fall of voice when speaking, especially when a desired effect is aimed at in communication. In speech, intonation and stress are inseparable as they go hand in hand to make communication effective. Falling intonation is used in statements that have an air of finality, WH questions, commands, and invitations. The rising intonation is used with questions requiring yes or no answers and statements intended to be questions. Note how the falling and rising intonation change meaning in the following sentences. You are coming with me. Falling intonation. The falling intonation gives the sentence an air of finality and therefore it is a comment. You are coming with me. Rising intonation. The rising intonation transforms the sentence into a question. Type either rising or falling in the blank space provided to show the. In this lesson, we will discuss myths and legends. We have been dealing with myths and legends. The following are typical features of each. Myths. They do not have an opening and closing formula. Myths give an explanation to events or activities that are difficult to understand. They are believed to be sacred as they involve gods and other supernatural world. They explain the origin of certain natural and supernatural phenomena. They revolve around events that happened in the remote past, and they are fictional in nature. Legends. Legends revolve around historical figure or characters and events. They are secular in nature. Legends are based on events from recent past. They are believed to be true as they can be traced to a historical event. The main character usually has mystical and magical or supernatural power. Listen attentively to a narration about the origin of death. The origin of death. In the beginning, there was no death. This is the story of how death came into the world. There was a man known as Leo. Leo was the first man that God created and brought to earth. God then called him and said, "When a man dies and you dispose of the corpse, you must remember to say, 'Man die and come back again. Moon die and remain away.'" Many months elapsed before anyone died. When in the end a neighbor's child died, Leo was told to bury the corpse. When he took the corpse outside, he made a mistake and said, "Moon die and come back again. Man die and stay away." This was against God's instructions, and that is how death came about. Up to this day, when the moon dies, it always comes back again. Legends, like myths, are also specific to a group of people. They are stories about historical figures, characters, or events. They are specific to a particular community. The hero or heroine in a legend usually possess superhuman qualities. The qualities of legendary figures are sometimes exaggerated and may sound like fantasy. For example, Luanda Magere, a legendary character among the Luo community, had a body of rock and strength was in his shadow. Legends, like myths, are also specific to a group of people. They are stories about historical figures, characters, or events. In this section, we explore the skills of attention and turn-taking through use of dialogue.
Today's discussion, we are going to focus on the story The Town by Enrico Seruma. Now, Mochiri, please take us through the character of the medicine seller.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
The medicine seller, we find that he's a very manipulative. He's a very manipulative man. Why manipulative? Because if you look at his way of advertising his trade and tools of trade, so to speak, he uses or he chooses on very sensitive areas within the society.
Exactly.
Now, I'd like us to read page 16, the second paragraph, who's saying, please, where it begins, "Hear you all." Page 16, second paragraph, where it begins, "Hear you,
Okay, fine.
all people."
"Hear you, all people, hear." A voice interrupted the man's thoughts. "This is your chance to buy this incredible medicine. Your wife is unfaithful, if you are troubled by spirits, if your children are always sick, if you are impotent, if girls don't fall for you, if you have constant headache, stomachache, mumps, dizziness. If you want to pass your exam successfully, everything, ladies and gentlemen, anything you want to get rid of, this is the medicine. Buy this medicine, this rare mumbwa, and everything will be better.
Correct. So you see, he is touching on sensitive issues
Emotional. In
within
fact,
emotion.
Watch the following video clip and listen carefully to the dialogue between a prefect and other students.
What's up, guys? I'd like to inform you that our class trip to...
What do you mean? Has been cancelled?
Is the school paying?
Hey, please stop talking all at once. Let's give you a chance to speak.
The trip to Masai Mara has been approved and is scheduled for Wednesday next week. Now, you are expected to each pay...
Now listen to the same prefect and students. Take note of how they demonstrate their listening and speaking skills better by paying attention and taking turns.
Excuse me, class. I'd like to inform you that our class trip to Masai Mara has been approved by the school administration.
Oh, that is good news.
Please, let's allow the prefect to give us the details.
Thank you. We are all expected to pay 1,000 shillings before the trip on Wednesday.
1,000 shillings? I'm sorry. I thought the school would meet the cost.
Give a short notice. Can we request the prefect plead with the administration to pay for the trip and then charge it on exam fees?
Yes, that's a good idea.
All right, let me take up the matter with the principal and inform you as soon as possible.
You will realize that there is a difference between the two dialogues. For effective communication to take place, one has to consider the following turn-taking features. Each person should be given a chance to speak. Use polite expression when you want to interrupt. Such expressions include, "Pardon me," "I am sorry to cut you short," "Please," and "Allow." You can pause to allow others to speak. If you interrupt, do apologize and allow the other person to complete what they are saying. Do not laugh at other speakers' mistakes. Do not belittle other speakers' contributions. Listen carefully to other speakers to enable you make informed contributions. Do not show impatience when others are contributing. This lesson takes you through correct habits in telephone conversations.
Hello. I would like to speak to the principal.
The principal is not in.
Can I leave a message?
That is up to you.
And when will he be back?
Hey? How am I supposed to know? I'm just a secretary.
Okay, tell him that Grace is sick and will not be coming to school.
Which Grace? We have so many Graces in this school.
Now your job is to take in messages and not to ask questions.
If that is how you feel, then I cannot help you. Bye.
Etiquette is a set of rules and conventions governing correct or polite behavior in society in general or in a specific social or professional group or situation. These rules form an important social code of interaction. They are applicable in various settings such as speaking, eating, dressing, working, among others. We are going to concentrate on the set of rules and conventions governing the correct behavior in telephone conversations. Listen to the telephone conversation and answer the following questions by typing in the correct answers.
Hello, can I speak to the principal? The principal is not in. Can I leave a message? That is up to you. When will he be back? How can I know? I am just a secretary. Tell him that Grace is sick and will not be coming to school. Which Grace is it? We have so many Graces in this school. Is it your job to take in messages or ask questions? If that is how you feel, then I cannot help you. Bye.
Listen to the telephone conversation and answer the following questions by typing in the correct answers.
Good morning. Jamia High School, can I help you? I'm sorry, the principal is not in at the moment. Could you kindly leave a message, please? Oh, sorry. I'm very sorry to hear that Grace is unwell. I will inform the principal as soon as she comes in. Thank you, sir. We wish Grace a speedy recovery. Goodbye.
Let us summarize the points that will help you develop appropriate telephone etiquette. Identify yourself. Be polite and courteous. Speak clearly and slowly. Pronounce words and quote figures clearly. Be short and to the point. Listen keenly so as to get the information. Do not interrupt unless it is necessary. Grammar. Grammar is defined as the way words are combined to form longer and meaningful units. The main objective of learning grammar is to help you understand how language works and be able to use it correctly and appropriately in different contexts. Learning how rules operate is even more important to know how to use the language in real-life situation. It means a learner who has mastered grammar knows how to apply the rules to communicate in enhancing effective communication. In Form 1, you are introduced to the correct use of rules in construction of English sentences. In Form 2, we will further explore these rules. In this lesson, we will discuss phrasal quantifiers. A phrasal quantifier is a group of words that express quantity in terms of amount or number. Some words that show quantity are plenty, few, little, many, some, one, two, and several. Countable nouns. We use a few to indicate or show countable nouns as shown in the diagram below. Uncountable nouns. These are substances, concepts, that we cannot divide into separate elements. We cannot count them. For example, we cannot count milk. We can count bottles of milk or liters of milk, but we cannot count milk itself. Bottles and liters are quantifiers used to show or indicate the amount of milk being referred to. Study the illustration and see how another quantifier, a piece of, may be used with uncountable nouns. Nouns that can be countable and uncountable. Sometimes the same noun can be countable and uncountable, often with a change of meaning. Drinks, for example, coffee, water, orange juice, are usually uncountable. But if we are thinking of a cup or a glass, we can say, in a restaurant, for example, 2 teas and 1 coffee, please. Study the illustration given and suggest quantifiers that may be used to the nouns within countable. the progressive and perfective aspects. The progressive aspect is also referred to as the continuous aspect. It is used with the present, past, and future tenses to show actions going on for a period of time. The perfect aspect is used with the past, present, and future tense to indicate actions that have been completed. The progressive aspect. The present progressive indicates an action going on at the time of speaking. For example, the boys are playing football. For a temporary action which may not be happening at the time of speaking. For example,
what set book are you reading?
I am reading The River Between. Note, the action is not taking place at the moment of speaking. For an action already arranged to take place in the near future. For example,
what are your plans for the evening?
I am going to the cinema tonight. In the present progressive aspect, three forms of the verb be, that is, am, and are used with the main verb in its ing form, as you may have noticed from the correct answers. The past progressive. This aspect is used to indicate an action that was happening at some time in the past. For example, Anyango was sleeping in class. Persistent habits. For example, Nakato was always yawning. The future progressive. This is the same as future continuous. It talks about actions that will be going on for some time in the future. For example, Juma will be going to school next week. Actions in the future which are already planned. For example, Kamau will be meeting us next year. The perfective aspect. The present perfect. This tense is used to describe past events which, though completed, their effect is still evident in the present. Describe actions that have been recently completed or finished. The perfective aspect. The present perfect. This tense is used to describe past events which, though completed, their effect is still evident in the present. The past perfect. This aspect is used to describe an action that was completed before a certain time in the past. The robbers had disappeared by the time the police arrived. When I arrived at home, the baby had broken the bottle. The professor had taught for 20 years at Yale University before he retired. They had painted my house when I got home. When I arrived at the station, the train had already left. The future perfect. This aspect is used to describe actions and events which are expected to be completed or finished by a certain time in the future. I shall have completed my homework by 9 o'clock. They will have gone home by the time you arrive. Jean will have cooked dinner by the time the guests arrive. By midnight, we will have loaded the cargo on the ship. He will have left before you go to see him. This lesson introduces you to interjections and their use. An interjection is a word or short phrase used in speech to gain attention, to exclaim, protest, or command. Interjections can be used to show emotions such as surprise or shock. Interjections are often found at the beginning of a sentence, especially in speech, and are commonly followed by an exclamation mark or a comma. Every community uses interjections. Can you think of any from your community? When an interjection expresses a strong emotion, it is punctuated with an exclamation mark. On the other hand, when it expresses only a mild emotion, it is punctuated with a comma. Note that an interjection ends with an exclamation mark, and the word that follows begins with a capital letter. This lesson introduces us to adverb phrases. They are also referred to as adverbial phrases. A phrase is a group of words that forms part of a sentence and does not make sense on its own. Adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. For you to handle the lesson effectively, you need prior knowledge of phrases and specifically the definition and functions of a phrase. A phrase is a group of words that forms part of a sentence and does not make sense on its own. Adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Look at the following examples. Just like adverbs, adverb phrases will state the degree, frequency, place. For you to handle the lesson effectively, a clause is a group of words that has a subject and predicate. It can be a sentence on its own or form part of a sentence. When a clause forms part of a sentence, it is called a subordinate or dependent clause. A subordinate clause relies on the main or independent clause to convey meaning. For example, Kalume answered the door when Jilo knocked. Kalume answered the door is the main clause. When Jilo knocked is the independent clause. In this lesson, we shall look at relative clauses. In this lesson, we are going to learn about active and passive voice. An active sentence gives prominence to the doer of the action, that is, the subject. In this case, the sentence states the doer of the action, and the receiver of the action. In active voices, the doer of the action must be mentioned. For example, Juma polished shoes. A passive sentence will give prominence to the receiver of the action or object. In this case, the sentence states the receiver of the action, and the doer of the action. Mentioning the doer of the action is optional. For example, the shoes were polished by Juma. When a sentence changes from the active voice to the passive voice, the object in the active sentence becomes the new subject in the passive sentence. When a sentence changes from active voice to the passive voice, the subject changes to the object position and the object to the subject position. Note the change in the positions of the subject and the object in the following sentences. In active voice, emphasis is on the subject, while in passive voice, emphasis is on the receiver of the action or the object. The tense of the verb in the active voice changes when the sentence is changed to passive voice. An adjective is a word that modifies a noun or pronoun. Nouns and pronouns can be described by several adjectives at the same time. For example, Mariamu has lovely long dark hair. The underlined words are the adjectives that describe the noun hair. When we use more than one adjective before a noun or pronoun, there is a preferred order. This order is referred to as the order of adjectives. The use of the correct order makes the sentence run smoothly and grammatically correct. In this lesson, we shall look at the use and order of adjectives. Adjectives are divided into two main categories. These are opinion and fact. Opinion adjectives. They explain what one thinks about somebody, something, or situation. Other people may not necessarily share the opinion. Different people would express different opinions about the house. For example, you can view it as beautiful, and your friend might say it's horrible. The correct order of adjectives is summarized in the table below. Fact adjectives. These are adjectives which describe size, age, shape, color, origin, make or material, and purpose. The following are examples of opinions and facts. Size. Size tells you how big or small something is, for example, a large envelope. Age tells you how young or old something or someone is, for example, Fort Jesus is an ancient building. Color describes the color of something, for example, a blue dress. Origin describes where something or someone comes from, for example, a Kenyan footballer. Purpose describes what something is used for. They often end in ing. An example of this is a walking stick. Material describes what something is made from, for example, a wooden spoon. For this lesson, prior knowledge of the definition of an adverb will be necessary. You should also be familiar with the different parts of speech. Let's remind ourselves of what an adverb is. Read the sentences below, paying attention. For this lesson, prior knowledge of the definition of an adverb will be necessary. You should also be familiar with the different parts of speech. Let's remind ourselves of what an adverb is. An adverb is a word used to modify verbs, adjectives, or other verbs. Read the sentences below, paying attention to the adverbs used in each case. All the students are waiting outside. We searched everywhere for the book. His bucket was carried downstream by the torrents. Come here! She marched away in protest. The highlighted words in the sentences are adverbs of place. They are used to indicate where something happens or where something goes. Adverbs of place answer the question where. Here are some more examples of adverbs of place. Write them down. Downstairs, elsewhere, nearby, down, eastwards, there, inland, behind, anywhere, indoors. Adverbs of degree tell how much or to what extent something happened. They tell us about the intensity of an action, that is, a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. For example, I almost collapsed after taking part in the marathon. Our principal was quite irritated by the scantily dressed student. The rain was enough for people to begin plowing. This is a fast car. Noye seldom visits his rural home for fear of witchcraft. The highlighted words show the intensity of an action, adjective, or adverb. These adverbs answer the question, to what extent? Other examples of adverbs of degree are very, extremely, rarely, often, to, really, scarcely, just, and nearly. Adverbs of degree modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb in a sentence. For example, he dearly loved her. Dearly is an adverb of degree modifying the verb loved. The bottle was almost full. Almost is an adverb of degree modifying another adverb, full. She was beautiful enough to win the pageant. Enough is an adverb of degree modifying the adjective beautiful.
Reading. Reading is a skill employed widely in life. We read for different purposes. For example, we read for leisure, information, and examinations. In this topic, we shall explore interpretive and intensive reading.
The purpose of interpretive reading is to develop skill in conveying meanings and emotions of a poem or prose selection. Consider the following points when reading aloud. Use pauses appropriately. Articulate and pronounce words correctly. Vary your voice. Emphasize certain words. Click to watch the presentation of the poem.
Lapobo. Tall, but not too tall. Short, but not too short. She is of medium size. Lapobo. Her teeth are not of ash, nor the color of maize flour. Her teeth are as white as fresh milk. The whiteness of her teeth, when I think of her, makes food drop from my hand. Lapobo. Black, but not too black. Brown, but not too brown. Her skin color is just between black and brown. Lapobo. Her heels have no cracks. Her palm is soft and tender to touch. Her eyes, oh, they can destroy anybody.
Read the poem interpretively, then answer the questions below it.
Another mother wishes that you are hers, but you are mine. She wants to nurse you on her gorgeous leg. She wishes you are hers. Today you on her camel hair rug, but you are mine. Thank you.
In this lesson, we discuss comprehension and style in poetry and prose. In this lesson, we discuss comprehension and style in poetry and prose. Read the poem, The Village Well, and answer to questions as instructed.
By this well, overhung by leafy branches of sheltering trees, I first noticed her. I saw her in the cool of a red evening. I saw her as if I had not seen her 1,000 times before. By this well, my eyes asked for love, and my heart went mad. I stuttered and murmured my first words of love, and cupped with my hands the intoxication that were her breasts. In this silent well, in the clear waters of this whispering well, the silent moon witnessed with a smile our inviolate vows, the kisses that left us weak and breathless. It is dark by the well that still whispers. It is darker, it is utter darkness in the heart that bleeds. By this well, where the magic has evaporated, but memories linger. Of damp death, the rotting foliage reeks, and the branches are grotesque talons of hungry vultures. For she is dead, the one I first loved, by this well.
Read the poem, The Village Well, and answer to questions as instructed. Combine the following sentences using relative pronouns.
My welling eyes cannot dry this moment due to this torment.
I decry my roses blossom and bloom, reduced to ashes of misery and doom, bringing this moment of sadness and gloom. This is a cry for my rosy rose, my rosy rose derosed, the rising beautiful flower, nipped in the bud. My rose had a vision and ambition, to fly high and higher, like a kite to soar and be a surgeon. Did the cruel claws of this beast live to extinguish the flame of her dream? Did it have to be this hungry, heinous hyena? It tracked her, the hungry panther, followed her, the lonely hunter, thinking only of its hunger. He was no stranger. She saw no danger in this venture, by this lone ranger, searching for a last quencher.
Click to read the glossary.
Writing. Writing is the most advanced of the 4 language skills that has a wide-ranging implications that influence our thinking and reasoning. It also encourages us to be organized, logical, and creative in our thinking. Writing will enable you express your ideals clearly and effectively. The ability to write well is essential because it influences our chances in academic discipline, personal development, and our relations with other people. For you to achieve recommended competence in writing, using a variety of sentence structures, you need to read widely.
Spelling refers to the formation of words with letters in the correct order. Correct spelling gives the writer confidence, impresses the reader, and shows efficient management of words. It is important to pay close attention to spelling because incorrect spelling hinders effective communication and sometimes it may change the meaning of the text. In English, the spelling of a word is often unrelated to its pronunciation.
Good spelling habits can be developed through the following techniques: pronunciation of the word, studying and writing it down. Learn to spell the words by breaking them into syllables and use the dictionary to confirm the correct pronunciation and spelling. The rule is: look at the word, say the word, think about it, write the word, and check the spelling. You need prior knowledge of spelling rules. How to study a word. Look at the word. How does it look? What does it mean? Say the word. Did you say it as you normally would? What are the vowel and consonant sounds? Think about the word. How is each sound spelled? Did you note any prefixes, suffixes, or other word parts? Write the word. Did you form the letters carefully? Did you think about the sounds and letters? Check the spelling. Did you write the word correctly? Do you need to write it again?
Hints on spelling. Words are misspelled because of poor pronunciation. This is through omission of letters in words, environment, campaign, hemisphere, addition of letters in words, arguments, welcome, pronunciation. Change of letters in words, repetition, indigenous, indefinite. Transposition of letters in words, animation, perspiration, characteristics. In this lesson, we will discuss various devices employed in building paragraphs. A paragraph is a group of related sentences that work together to explain or develop one main idea. The main idea in a paragraph is clearly expressed in a topic sentence, which usually comes at the beginning of the paragraph. What comes after the topic sentences are the supporting details. They make up the body of a paragraph by giving details to develop and support the main idea. Finally, there is the clincher sentence. This is the closing sentence, which restates the main idea of a paragraph using different words. The clincher sentence summarizes the paragraph. Kenya is one of the best tourist destinations in the world. First, the Kenyan people are friendly and enjoy having the tourists around. Second, there are diverse, breathtaking sceneries. For instance, Mount Kenya, migration of wildebeests, the Great Rift Valley, among others. Finally, its sandy beaches are spectacular. Therefore, this makes Kenya a desirable place to visit. Giving reasons and examples. A paragraph can be developed by giving reasons and examples. Reasons are logical statements that answer the question why, while examples are specific objects, situations, incidents that explain or relate to the main idea. Examples are introduced by words like, for instance, for example, such as, among others. Read the paragraph below. There are various causes of soil erosion. One major cause is poor family practices. For example, farming on steep slopes, non-rotation of crops, and overgrazing. Natural calamities also lead to soil erosion. Such natural calamities include floods, landslides, and whirlwinds. Another cause is deforestation, which refers to the cutting down of trees without replacing them. The reasons cited above have been known to leave productive land barren. The paragraph above illustrates how reasons and examples can be used to develop paragraphs. Formal letter. A formal letter of apology is written to express a feeling that one is sorry for doing wrong or for causing a problem. Such a letter is usually addressed to the person or institution that has been offended. The following are the parts of a formal letter. Sender address. This does not include the writer's name. Date. Date written one line below the sender's address. Receiver's address. Reference. Content also referred to as the body. Signing off, which includes complimentary clause, signature, and name. Informal letter. An informal letter is also referred to as a friendly letter. It is written to friends, relatives, and people we generally socialize with. It is normally relaxed and conversational. The register and language used varies depending on the relationship between the sender and the receiver. The following make up the parts of an informal letter of apology. Sender's address, but does not include the writer's name. Date written one line below the address, and it is not part of the address. Salutation.
content or body, complementary clause, name. Note that an informal letter has neither a subject nor a signature. In this lesson, we will discuss study writing. Descriptive writing is an attempt to vividly convey people's impressions to the audience or the reader. You can describe a process, activity, or static features. The description should appeal to the reader's sense of sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. However, you may not appeal to all the senses at the same time. There are two ways of organizing descriptive writing. Step-by-step description. This is describing everything from one step to another and showing where each detail is located. For example, in describing a tree, you can begin with describing the roots, stem, branches, and the leaves to create a whole picture. Overall impression. This is where you begin by giving an overall impression, that is, the whole person, then move to a particular area, for example, the face, and then to a detail like the eyes. A video recording is one of the best ways of capturing breathtaking scenes. It is also an easier way of sharing experiences because it brings reality to life. Likewise, a good description creates strong emotions and moods like fear and excitement, among others. In addition, it creates clear mental pictures of people, places, and things.